Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Ann. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pray that you are having the very best day, and wherever you are, hopefully you are staying cool because here in North Carolina it is hot with a capital H, a capital O, and then a capital T as well. I went to this event on Saturday, and it's Monday, July 8th. But I went to this event on Saturday, and OMG, by the time I walked from the car to like maybe across the street to get to the event and talk to like one person, I could feel sweat as I was talking to them, just kind of like rolling down the back of it was just, I hadn't even really stepped on the scene yet, my God, but I had fun at the event. Anywho, so today we are going to be talking about being the salt of the earth, right? And at this event, it was really cool because it was a lot of people out there, and it was really like an event where it was, people who got together and brought their cars out, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and I am a car person, so I loved going out there to just look at the different cars that people have. It was so much fun, and really wanting to be more of a light. And as disciples, it's important for us to be that light or be the salt of the earth. How do people know that we're disciples of Christ? By the way we love, by the way we live, by the way we talk, act, all of those things. People are watching, Christians. We are ridiculed and persecuted and like all the other things. And what I don't want to do is because of my actions is turn, like a person who is on the verge of coming back to the kingdom, coming back to Christ. And if I'm the only Bible that they have known or may have read, because I say that I'm a Christian and I represent Christ, and if I'm acting a monkey out here in this world and not representing him well, then what does that do? It just, of course, continues to draw people away from God when we need to be drawing them to him. So being the salt of the earth. So we're going to talk about the Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. What does the salt mean? How does salt keep its flavor? How are we to be the flavor, in this world? How can we show up? So I'm going to read two versions. I'm going to read the KJV version. Why? Because sometimes when we get into the other translated versions, they do leave out chunks of words or phrases and different things like that. So I just want to make sure that sometimes I try to go back and forth, but I do like the New Living Translation for my brain and my mind to really comprehend and understand what was going on. That's what I do. Excuse me. So it says, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Right? Imagine some of the things that we eat and they don't have any salt on them. I mean, like some people do eat chicken and fries and stuff like that without salt on them, but I need a little salt. I need a little flavor, right? If it is good for nothing, if it doesn't have like a little bit of flavor to it, I need a little something, right? I need a little something. If salt loses its flavor, its effectiveness, it cannot feel its purpose. What is its purpose? Practical purpose is to give some flavor so we can enjoy that piece of food or what have you. Practical. But going back to the spiritual, let's get back serious. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel. One, fire hazard. But on a candlestick, and giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men. I'm gonna say that one more time. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. I like that. Let your light so shine before men. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna read it in the New Living Translation. Again, that's the one I want. I like. Some people, they use ESV or NIV or the Message Bible. Message Bible is hilarious. Yeah, I'm gonna read it in NLT. It says, "You are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless if it's not doing its job. Why is it there? You don't want to just sprinkle crystals on your food and just, no point, no point. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives a light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all those to see, so that everyone will praise your Heavenly Father, because that's who it's about. It's not about us, it's about Him. So sometimes I know it can be difficult to go out and be the salt of the earth, and add flavor and add light and add all the things when Christians are so persecuted and so judged and talked about and all the other things. But God is calling us to be the salt of the earth, y'all. There are so many people in disarray. At that event, I work in the mental health field. I talk to males mostly about their mental health. And I was talking to a few guys and they were, asking them about God. Did they have him in their lives? Things like that. And one was like, well, God's too busy for me. I just, try to take care of things myself. He was so serious. And then he was like, oh, if that doesn't work, then I'll ask God, So we talked about that, reversing that. And then one guy was just like, he had tried God out and it just didn't work for him, for wherever he was in his life. Sometimes the men will share, and these are people that I meet on the street, so sometimes they will share like what they're going through or what they have been through. They'll share like all the details, and then sometimes not, which is okay as well. But I still give them a word, and letting them know that Jesus is there for them. But letting your light so shine before men. All right, so how do we do all of this? First of all, what is salt? What does salt do? So I think to understand how we are to be of the salt of the earth, then we need to understand what salt even does. So salt does quite a bit of things, right? It not only gives us tasty food and high blood pressure if we have too much, but it also is a binder. So it makes materials stick or mix together. We are the binders. We help non-believers and people of, other religions and different things that they have going on with themselves kind of mix together with believers, with the church, so that we can draw them in with our love and with the word and with prayer and with surrounding them with community. That is a way we can be a binder, doing outreach, going out there. And it doesn't even have to be outreach where you specifically go to an area, set up somewhere, talk about, spread the gospel, give out things, although that is a good way. Wherever you are, right, you can shine your light into people, and it doesn't always have to be like a 30-minute conversation or what have you. It could be 2 minutes of encouraging someone, like, man, complimenting them. I really like your outfit. I love to compliment people on their outfit, especially when they come to church. It's like a whole fashion show. I'm like, okay, yes ma'am, I see your outfit. And that makes people feel good too, because people get up, they put on their outfit, they're like, oh, you never know what people are going through, especially people bring a lot of stuff They carry a lot of stuff around with them on their shoulders. It's invisible to us, visible to God. He knows, which is why sometimes he places us in certain people's path to be the salt of the earth, to help the non-believers and the believers mix together. Why? So that they can be influenced by us. Stabilizer. Salt is a stabilizer. It is used to keep something steady or stable, right? We are ultimately bringing people into the church so that we can lead them to the rock that is higher than I, that is Jesus Christ, right? We can love on people, we can pray for them, we can be with them, but ultimately the goal is to lead them to a relationship with Jesus Christ, because we can't have like all these people depending on us, and what should I do here? What should I do here? They can ask us for advice, and we can be there for them for certain things, but they ultimately need to have that relationship with Christ so that he can guide them on a lot of the things, so they don't have to ask us for everything, because that's going to wear us down, right? What is that? Burnout. It is very easy to be in ministry and get burned out, because we love people, we want to help people, we want to be the salt of the earth and a light also on a hill, but we also have to make sure that we are getting ourselves away from certain things, unplugging and taking care of ourselves so that we can pour into ourselves, so that God can pour into us and restore us and revitalize us and all of those things, so that we can then go back out and do that. But it is surely a way. I've been there. I still struggle with that. And so that is something that God is working on with me and having me take more rest days. I'm sometimes good at it, but I'm getting better. However, all right, so let's get back to what salt does. So salt is a stabilizer. It also takes care of bacteria. If there's a lot of salt, bacteria cannot thrive. Okay, it is a preservative. And while it is a preservative in like the practical sense, right? It preserves things. Catch the revelation. I think I was saying that right. Catch the revelation. Bacteria cannot thrive in high amounts of salt. If we're being the salt of the earth, right? If we are being a light where darkness cannot overcome, and we are leading people to Christ, and we are loving on them, and we are praying for them and with them, then that bacteria, right, that doubt, that shame, that guilt that so many people carry around, it cannot grow. It slows down the moral decay and the spiritual decay when we show up to be the salt of the earth. When we add flavor to people's lives, when we add joy, when we add, even giving them a laugh, a compliment, loving on them. So many different things that we could do as disciples of Christ to be a salt of the earth, to be salty. All right, so it purifies, it helps to clean things, right? We can walk people through a journey from being an unbeliever to a believer. It is a journey sometimes, because people have had so many things happen to them. And while we know that God is good and Jesus is good and there's no darkness in him, this is a fallen world, and a lot of things have happened over time. The question I used to get, especially from the kids the most, was, why? Why would God allow? Why would this? Why would that? And not understanding fully who God is, that this is a fallen world and there's evil in this world, and there's just so many different factors that go into certain things, choices, free will. I mean, it's a lot. And also people are not understanding or seeing the good that is in this world as well, and how people rescue them. I mean, how God rescues them, and people too. He sends people. But it purifies things and cleans things up. So, with an appropriate amount of salt, it is good. It is balanced for the body. the body of Christ, that is. But seriously, y'all, it is salt. It can be used in so many different ways. And salt was a valuable commodity back in the biblical times that we were talking about, in the times of when this was written. People used to get paid in salt. Now me, I want some coins, but some silver, some gold, something they had back in the days. But no, seriously, they used to get paid in salt. That's how amazing salt was. Great. Interesting, right? Yeah. But before this, in chapter 5, before this, he gives us, Jesus did, he spoke, and he gave them 8 Beatitudes on the Sermon on the Mount. And that is, I think that was one of his first major messages to a big group of people, is the Beatitudes. I'm going to just read through some of them and explain them. Of course, you can always go back to them and look them over. So this is coming from Matthew 5:3-10. These are all the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And what that means is just being humble, right? We can walk around in pride and all of these other things, which I do not recommend, because look at how many kings in the Bible have fallen because they got so proud and they got too big for their britches, and then they just started tripping. Like King Nebuchadnezzar, who was walking on his roof, looking over the city like, yeah, this looks good. I did this and all of this other. And Jesus was like, say what now? Okay, let me holler at you for a second. Then, next thing you're out in the wilderness with hair and no shaving cream and all this other stuff. But what I'm saying is, stay humble. It's not about us. It's about Jesus. It's about bringing souls to Christ. So when we don't make ourselves, the one that we're thinking about all the time, and we can go out and serve others, we can stay humble, right? So blessed are those who are poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Sometimes we have to do that as Christians. Because even when people, especially when people make us upset, right? We're human. We're Christians, but we're still human. Like, people get on our nerves the same way they get on everybody else's nerves. But we have to exercise that self-control, because that's the spirit that God gave us. And also, although it's not used in every situation, we do have to have like a sense of control that we use. So blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. What are you hungry and thirsty for? Water? Yes, of course. What are you seeking after that fills you temporarily, but not eternally, as if you were drinking from the eternal well of Jesus? Just like the woman at the well. Jesus was talking to her and about like the husbands that she had, and not in a condemning way, just asking her questions. She was like, oh, okay, you must be one of those prophets, huh? And she was so intrigued by how he handled her, which was gently. Sometimes we have to be gentle with people and how we bring them to Christ, and not Bible thumping them, because that pushes people away, because then they feel judged. So we can't do that. There is a way. Look at the ways that Jesus brought people back to the kingdom. Some of them didn't listen. They had to learn the hard way. But most of the time, So in this story, once she got a revelation of who Jesus was, it says she dropped her water. She didn't even need that fountain water anymore, that well water. Went and evangelized to the town and brought people to Christ by her testimony. Giving out your testimony, that's another way, right? that we can bring people back to the kingdom. Let's see. And not fill yourself with temporary things. I think sometimes temporary pleasures, we do seek after those. They feel good for the moment, but they're not going to last eternally, like that relationship with Christ. So being mindful of that. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Have mercy on people. Everybody's not perfect. Neither are we. Nobody's perfect. We all fall short of the glory every single day. Have mercy on people. It's reminding me of a parable where, and I can't think of the exact one or exact place where it is, but I just remember reading this parable about this man who owed this king a lot of money, right? And the king was about to be like off with his head, do what you will with them, whatever, I don't even care. But he begged the king to let it go and to like have mercy on him. So then the king does. And after that, this man that owed the king a lot of money, someone owed him some money. And after that encounter with the king, he runs into that person that owes him money. And the man is like, well, please have mercy on me. Like, can I pay you in installments? Whatever. And he was like, absolutely not. I will have no mercy on you. And the king heard of that, got wind of that. Oh, he was like, oh, okay. And then it just did not go so well. But y'all, you guys can find that, and I will definitely put it in the comments so that you can go back and find it exactly where that happened. But have mercy on people. My God, things are hard. Life is hard. Okay. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Right? We're not here to cause strife. We're not here to be all rowdy and stuff, or oh, you won't run me. It's so much, y'all. Let's not be petty. Let's not be petty. Let's represent Christ well. Okay, it says, blessed are those who are persecuted because of the righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of God, heaven. Sometimes when we go out and we preach the gospel, or we love on people, or we have to correct people in love, we may be persecuted. We may be looked upon as. We may be talked about. We may, have some things that are said to us that are not pleasant. However, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So this is not new. It's just not new. Okay? Great is your reward in heaven. Don't know about you, but I'm gonna be talking to Jesus about what my mansion looks like in heaven. Okay? In his Father's house, there are many rooms. Anyways, so those are the Beatitudes. Really go back and study those for yourself to understand what that means, how we can be humble, how we can be poor in spirit, how we can seek for righteousness, things like that. God opposes the proud. He gives grace to the humble. Also looking up the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector, Luke 18:9-14. That was a really good one because it just talks about how sometimes we can get into this really this spirit like a Pharisee, and we can be like, well, I did this, God, and I do that, and I'm perfect, and I'm a perfect Christian, I tithe, all of these things, when we all fall short, we all sin. And then the tax collector was just like, God, I know I'm a sinner, just like, okay, like, please forgive me, I'm just going to ask for forgiveness. Who do you think went home more righteous? All right, I abbreviated all of that, but again, that's why I gave you the scripture, so you can go back and see that for yourself. But let's not try to act perfect. Let's just be ourselves, be a light, be, embody the fruits of the Spirit, being patient and gentle and thankful, and all of those things that we are supposed to be. walking as children of the light. Let your light so shine before men. We are the only Bible that people read sometimes. And again, you know that we are criticized as disciples of Christ. So there's a standard. Salt, with salt, back in those days, it was looked at as elite, as a standard. Living as children of Christ, there's a standard that we have to abide by. So yeah, I know we want to go to this movie, or we want to go to that dance, or we want to go to this thing and that thing, but is that so-and-so in here? I thought she was a Christian. When we act a certain way, or at places where we may not be, and yet they're there, but we are the light that is supposed to be drawing them out of those places, not being in the dark with them. And it really can mess with our ability to witness if we are not in a place where we're supposed to be, or if we're cursing and acting up, or it's because I am who I am and all of these things. It just does not sit right. So be the salt, be a light. We are not to be hidden. We are to go out into all the nations and make disciples so that they can make more disciples. In the same way, let your good deeds shine. If I were just, out and about looking at the lives of some people, would they be representing Christ? Or would I know that they are of Christ? Or would I say, that's the devil's child? How are we showing up in this world to be the salt, to preserve, to purify, to bind together, to balance, to stabilize? Just, salt changes the flavor of food. We have a chance to change the world, to shift the world's perspective. We have a chance to just really show up and do some amazing things. We have a chance to bring a lot of people back to Christ by being the salt of the earth. And I pray that you will kind of think about some things today, as I also ponder some things today about myself, on what it means to be the salt of the earth, what it means to be a disciple, what it means to be a light in this world. Because where there is light, darkness cannot overcome. So we have to be a light. We are the hands and feet of Jesus. So lots of things to think about as we go forth and, be on our journey as people who add flavor to this world. I pray that you are blessed whenever you are watching this video, day or night. And until next time, go out and give some flavor to somebody who really needs it. Have a good one.